Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, January 9th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around. That's because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one, ticker symbol OPK. Very, very interesting day today after getting just absolutely destroyed last week. To be fair, it did level off on Friday, and then today got some upwards movement here. So headed into Tuesday, it's just become a question of, is this bounce the start of something even bigger? Is there genuine power behind this movement? And I have no idea, but by using charts, we can make answering that question very straightforward. In my mind, it all revolves around this area right here at the 93-cent mark. And the reasoning is pretty straightforward. If this is some sort of genuine power move, then the price is not going to go back to where it was. I mean, if the price comes down here and breaks down below there, what has that done? It has quite literally put the price right back inside of that range where it just was previously. And, like I said, not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that go back to where they were, not exactly a sign of genuine power or true strength. Whereas on the flip side of things, because nothing can go straight up, maybe the price comes down here. Whoops, let's try that again. Price comes down here, bounces around, and then heads back up. Now all of a sudden, what would you have? Well, you'd have a set of lows right here. You'd have a set of lows down here, and if you envision each one of those as stair-steps, well, now you have stair-steps making progress in the upwards direction, and that's what a truly strong move is going to do. So yes, today was a very, very nice bounce. Is there genuine power behind it? Let's see if it can make progress, and again, how is progress being defined? Right there at 93 cents. Next one here, ticker symbol MARA, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched the video from last week I did when it was in the top 10, and more specifically in regards to this red line resistance right here at $26, and we'll call it right around 70 cents. But you can see today, price came up there and got rejected right at that level, which is not a shock when you consider that the price was rejected there before, rejected there, and again, rejected during the early afternoon today. Does that mean that 2670 can never be broken? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it makes sense why the price struggled at that area, and that moving forward, why that remains a very, very key level. But the other interesting dynamic here that has happened is the fact that it did build a nice higher low, which now allows for a trend line to be put in a place like this. Let me change that to green to represent more so the support. And then just from a patterns perspective, now we're looking at an ascending triangle, which is a bullish pattern. So yes, today may be a little bit disappointing given it got rejected from that level, but from the bigger picture, you now have a good solid bullish ascending triangle. Next one here, BETS, and started off the day very, very nicely. Had a nice gap up right here, and then you can see the bears took over and down the price went. Big volume today once again. It might be over 2 billion shares now. Again, the market still got a little bit of time left to trade, so I'm not quite sure where the volume will end up. But point here being, nice start, collapsed quite a bit. But what makes this collapse interesting is it didn't keep collapsing. It at least started to go sideways here, which means, or it doesn't necessarily mean it, but which suggests that 006 could be an area of support and that maybe this thing is finally starting to level off here, and maybe some sort of bottom is forming where the price can pull off one of these maneuvers where maybe it goes, and who knows, maybe this does this all of Tuesday, goes sideways, and then you get some sort of bounce in the upwards direction. Certainly a plausible scenario that you can throw out there, and a valid question to ask. Of course, none of that means it's for sure going to happen, no guarantees, but it's at least a rational situation to throw out there given the sideways nature here after getting absolutely beat down. So if you like this price range and you like these situations where something gets beat down, but then it starts to show some signs that maybe it's trying to level off, certainly keep an eye on it. Next one, GOEV. Nice start today. Got a pullback, but what immediately stood out to me was where this pullback decided to stop, and just the power of charts you can see right there. Price came down to that pink line, and then what a coincidence, after that pink line has now started to go back upwards. So are charts perfect? No, they're not perfect, but I would argue they're certainly a very worthwhile tool to focus on, and this is a good example of that right here. So price pulled back. Now it's starting to curl back upwards. So needless to say, moving forward, from a support standpoint, nothing new here as far as what I've already talked about. You're going to want to keep a close eye on that 200 period moving average. If this thing does continue on up, then has it broke that, from the naked eye? I'm not quite sure. Let's see. We have that trend line right there. So it got rejected. It tried to do battle with the resistance trend line right here, and then you can see final 30 minutes right now. has gotten rejected and back down it goes. But moving forward, is it plausible, especially if you think that a lot of people have drawn that trend line, and whether you want to call it self-fulfilling prophecy or not, that if the price can come up here and push up through it, that break in of itself could create additional buying pressure. That is certainly a plausible scenario. But if you do like penny stocks and you like these sorts of pullback situations, certainly keep an eye on it. Next one, AMC, and you know what? Put in some higher highs and higher lows today. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually extend this line up so we can continue to track it as time goes by. Started off this morning pretty shaky as the price came down here and then, broke down through that area right there. But all things considered, it recovered very nicely, went in, put in a higher high. Sure, it pulled back, and that's what it's currently doing right now. A little bit of a pullback from these highs, but not the end of the world. Nothing can go straight up, as I've already mentioned. So as long as that price puts in those higher bases, that's what matters most, and that's where that green trend line is coming to play. Help us answer the question and help us to visualize whether or not the price is actually putting in higher lows or not. But as long as the price is putting in higher lows, then that is a sign that the bulls are, maintaining control and slightly building control. So keep an eye on that. As far as areas of resistance, good problem to have. I'm going to go ahead and adjust this area of resistance up now to this 542 mark. And assuming you're bullish, whenever levels of resistance need to be adjusted higher, that's definitely always a good thing. So today, good solid day here for AMC. The trend line maintains itself. Let's see if it can continue to do that moving forward. Real quick, want to pause and personally invite you to get and sign up for this free live online class that I'm offering here later on in the week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box, or if you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one, NKTX, and what a monster mover this thing was. Fantastic volume, and price essentially sitting right up here at this key area of resistance. In fact, might be slightly above it. Yeah, I take it back. The breakout has actually already happened. The key resistance right there at $10.30. And now, ideally, you want to see this act as support. And on that note, so far, so good. Looking here, you got to look relatively closely, but you can see the price did pull back here last 30 minutes and bounced right off that level. So a classic example there of resistance acting as support. And moving forward, ideally, you want to see the price stay above that green line, because if it does, that just illustrates a very, very healthy looking chart. Now, with that said, it's not like if the price falls below there, that means the entire chart's destroyed or ruined or anything like that. But if the price can maintain above there, that would certainly be a great sign of power. So the breakout has occurred, which leads to always an exciting question. Is this the start of something even bigger? Now, maybe it's not. Maybe this thing rolls right back over. But that is a two-sided coin, because, maybe it is the start of something bigger, and this thing's just going to keep on ripping and rolling the rest of the week. So if you like these scenarios where you get a break and then you get to ask that question, is this the start of something even bigger, then I definitely keep this one on your watch list. Next one, TSLA, Tesla. Very, very nice move today, and this level will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched the video from Friday, but talked about how that green line right there at 236.30 was an important area of support, and you can see this morning spent quite a bit of time down around that area, but then after that had a very, very nice rest of the day. Still work to be done, but from where it was and where it was kind of hovering around that very critical area of support, definitely created some separation and breathing room for itself. So that's always good to see. And then as far as areas of resistance are concerned, the price is now starting to reach up to right around this general congestion point, and we'll call it the 242.15 area. Isn't quite there yet, but looking back here, you can see that when the price has been up around that area, it just struggled, not necessarily exactly at that level, but again, just kind of a general area. So keep an eye on 242.15. What I'm really curious about now is Tesla, is this a strong bounce, or is this going to be one of these things where it kind of just chops around in between the sideways channel? So that's the main question mark for me moving forward. Is Tesla really starting to bounce backwards, or is this just how it's behaving within the sideways channel pattern that's already been in play here for the past few days? So that'll be, an interesting question, at least in my mind, over the next couple of days. Next one, ELEV. Very, very big mover today, and essentially just like the one we talked about. So I should have probably put this one in a different location in the watch list, because right here was the key breakout point, and the breakout has happened, but with that break, you would now just technical analysis 101, when levels of resistance are broken, you want to see them act as support. So a couple different situations right now. If you like to play pullbacks, well, in some senses, there's not really any sort of breakout area. You could buy a break of those highs, but in some sense, at least in my opinion, that feels like more so chasing than anything else. So this seems to be more of a pullback situation, where do you get some sort of pullback here, and then you get a return back upwards. From a risk-reward scenario, I'd say you'd be able to structure a little bit more, beneficial trade plan in that regard. But I don't know, if you are some sort of momentum trader, maybe you do try to buy the break of there. But overall, the point here being is very, very nice upwards move the past couple days. And if you still believe in the general trend here and the general momentum, then yeah, any sort of pullback, especially to that former breakout area, could certainly produce a nice entry point. Next one, SPEC. Very strong start. Got the bit of a pullback. What makes this interesting is that the pullback has at least now started to go sideways here right around the $2.20 mark. As I've already said, I wish I could say trading was this easy, but just because there is a pullback and just because more specifically the prices started to go sideways does not mean for sure guaranteed the pullback's over, for sure guaranteed this thing's not going to head back up, or for sure guaranteed this thing's going to bounce. But it becomes a whole lot more plausible. Case in point, if the price right now is still just dropping, I'm sitting here saying, hey, it's looking like the pullback might be over. You'd be completely justified to say, what are you talking about? Based on what? The price is literally just going straight down. But that's not the case here, right? The price has at least started to go sideways. So is that a guaranteed bottom? No, but it certainly becomes very plausible. So if you like pullbacks, if you like to structure some of these situations where it's looking like a bottom is formed and you might get some sort of curl back upwards, then SPEC certainly presents a good solid situation. Next one here, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ market. So if you believe the NASDAQ market is going to go up, then this will also go up. It's just allows you access at a much lower price point. Talked about this one on Friday. Talked about the falling wedge and how that is a bullish pattern and how I liked it. And talk about it, just a classic real-life example of the power of charts and technical patterns. And if you don't believe me, I'm not offended at all. I could be a total stranger to you. Just go back in the watch list, watch the video from Friday, and you'll see I talked about this falling wedge. And check it out. Gapped up, broke through that falling wedge, and wow, absolutely beautiful technical breakout. Kept going and going, which now segues into the next big battleground that's looking like has a very real chance of occurring on Tuesday. So all eyes now, and that pink line up there, the 200 period moving average. If the price gets up there, can it break through it? I'm not saying it can't, but it better bring its A game, because that's always a very stubborn level to break through on any chart, even if you just want to call it a self-fulfilling prophecy. But more of the story here, absolutely beautiful breakout on that falling wedge. I'll get rid of those levels. Now all eyes here on that pink line. If there is any sort of pullback, then that purple line down there, the 50 period moving average, is certainly the level that you would want to see the price stay up above. So that wraps up the top 10 lists here. Again, like I said, if you want to learn more about this chart or learn about charts and all this, then definitely go get signed up for that class later on this week, Thursday, January 11th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, do a couple things for me. Hit the like button, leave a simple comment down below. Thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good one.